I have caught bots at just about every major boss, major PvM challenge like the Inferno, every worthwhile minigame, and even numerous advanced PvP scripts. There is one place left in RuneScape I never caught a bot, nor had any proof it was definitely being botted. That place is the Theater of Blood. Over the past few years, there have even been script requests and threads on botting forums that show scripters refusing to make a Theater of Blood bot, some of them explaining why it would be so tedious to make one. I mean, obviously there's just a lot of moving parts, including lots of NPCs and different mechanics to account for, as TOB is a pretty complex activity. Well, that changed. Today is the day I found Theater of Blood bots absolutely smashing through one of the hardest, most profitable activities in the game, or at least I think they were bots. As usual, it started with a tip. A trio of accounts doing Theater of Blood someone spotted, and thankfully they recorded it. They think the accounts are bots because of the one-tick gear switches, along with perfect synchronized mechanics to efficiently take out each boss and minimize damage dealt to themselves. And it looks like promising footage to me, enough so that I ran over to the Theater of Blood. And if you don't actually know, you can spectate groups here, so the strategy is just to spectate the most recent entrants to see if we can spot a pattern or anything else suspicious. And the first group I find are all in Void with Fangs and Fire Capes. First account I look up has only 1100 total level with high 90s combat stats. The only kill counts it has are 34 Chambers of Xeric and 183 Theater of Blood. The second account must be hacked if it's a bot, because it's almost 2k total, has hundreds of clue scroll completions, and tons of different boss kill count. And that's what I noticed what the accounts are currently doing while I'm looking up their stats. They're all currently running on top of one another, tick perfectly. Although I have seen some real players do this before, it's pretty tough to all be in sync perfectly like this. So the third account has 90 million ranged XP, 112 virtual strength, but only 98 attack and 90 defense, which is a big red flag since most players wouldn't just train an extra 30 million strength XP before getting 99 defense and attack on a main build. It also had 7.5 Bandos KC, 7k and 5k KC in Desert Treasure 2 bosses, 1k Fulsani Nightmare KC, and 186 Theater of Blood KC. Those are all bosses we know are heavily botted, but also note that all three of these accounts were pretty different in terms of stats, minigame completions, and PvM KC. So I kept spectating them through the final boss fight. And check out this synchronization and teamwork. It's scary good. And when it's time to switch into ranged gear, they all do it on the same tick with a perfect clean switch. Overall, they finished it in 28 minutes and none of them died. After checking the next 10 worlds, I had found 3 more trios pretty similar to this one. And when I say I found 3 more trios, they all had the exact same crazy mechanics, crazy movement, and gear switches. One of which all had infernal capes. Now the way these accounts bank is also maybe one of the most convincing things they do that make me think they're bots. And we'll study that right after this. But first, let me introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, Marvel Strike Force. Marvel Strike Force offers a gameplay experience that's both familiar and thrilling. It combines turn-based strategy elements with the excitement of real-time combat, creating a gaming experience that's easy to pick up and play. You get to assemble a team of your favorite Marvel characters. Whether you're a fan of Spider-Man, Iron Man, Black Widow, or Loki, you can collect, upgrade, and battle alongside these iconic characters. The game has a variety of engaging campaigns and regular events, so you can dive into a rich storyline as you battle across iconic Marvel locations and face off against legendary foes. One of the most exciting aspects of the game I've found is the ability to unlock and add new characters to your roster. If you're a new player, you can unlock up to 17 characters within the first 30 days, including Spider-Man, Deadpool, Thor, Captain America, and more. So for a limited time this month, if you use the QR code on screen or click the link in the description, you'll unlock these exclusive characters for free by logging in. Celebrate the upcoming release of Marvel Studios' The Marvels by unlocking Captain Marvel or Miles Morales for free. Use promo code CARDS to get character Gambit, 500 power cores, and 5 premium orbs for a limited time. Thanks to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this video. We're back, so check out how these accounts bank. As they run, they're offset by the exact same number of ticks, also the same number of tiles between each of them, and they click the bank at the exact same position, as you can see when their characters change pathing animations. And they each bank in exactly like 2 ticks, still separated by the exact same distance as they run back. There's just not a better word for it than robotic. Now I waited a few weeks to make this video so I could track usernames and observe the progression of these accounts. Here's some good news. Over 65% of the names I initially collected were not on the high scores 3 weeks later. I hadn't even reported them to Jagex, and they seem to be getting banned over the holidays, which also probably means they were automated bans, not manual. So my assumption is Jagex's bot detection system is actually picking up the bot script. Since so many of them had been banned, I think I'm safe saying this is a bot farm. As time goes on, I'm getting more answers. Someone else who was looking into these potential Theater of Blood bots showed me screenshots from a botting Discord of the release of a Theater of Blood script very recently. And there's an interesting strategy the botters are employing here. They limited the number of available copies of the script to 50, one purchase per team of 3 accounts. So theoretically, if they weren't running any Theater of Blood bots, there'd only be 150 of them running from this script. Maybe it's an attempt to keep the bots under the radar. But the script is also insanely expensive, $250 to run a team of 3 accounts. So if you wanted a small bot farm of 4 teams, that would be $1,000 per month just to run the script. What's crazier is many of the bots I found seem to have been banned, as I mentioned, but it seems like their strategy of keeping it under the radar didn't work, as Jagex is banning them without me even reporting them. Assuming the bots can do 2.5 kills per hour and run 16 hours per day, each group gets about 40 kill count per day, and each kill count to the group is worth about 3 million GP. So each trio makes about 120 million GP per day. So it would take about 9 to 10 days just to make the $250 investment back from the script purchase, assuming no bans and no cost for the accounts. Which, obviously there would be costs, and they are getting banned. Finally, another week went by, and other players who were looking into these Theater of Blood bots found over 40 more, most of which just recently were banned. I don't know how they know this, but apparently a lot of them only got 2-day banned. A few of them also were double name changing. Then yesterday, I got pinged about one of the crazier finds. Check out this trio of bots. They're all wearing scythes. 2 of them seem to be accounts made specifically to bot the Theater of Blood with around 100 KC and minimal other stats. And one appears to be a hacked main account. Every single account is wearing gear valued at 1.3 billion GP. So if these 3 accounts get banned, whoever is running these bots will lose 4 billion GP just from their gear. It feels a little bit crazy to me that I'm watching 3 bots doing the Theater of Blood with scythes right now. After finding these bots, I feel this weird sense of completion. Like if I had just finished a long novel or TV show. This is like the final activity in game that I thought wasn't botted. And it just makes me feel like the future's more uncertain, because lots of the content I make is about catching new bots I'd never found before, not finding the same types of bots over and over again, although I do revisit topics sometimes. So what's next? I actually don't know. Luckily, I do have more content for you in this video at least. Here's a really strange tip with subject line, Zulrah teleports being dropped. The tip elaborates that it's happening in Lumbridge Bank World 389. An account named FAE Gast 2445 is dropping stacks of Zulrah teleports every minute or so. So I hop out of bed and log in, because this is one of those tips you really want to check out. I see the account there, run under it, and start spam clicking. About 30 seconds later, I pick up 8 Zulrah teleports. Quick price check shows they're 20k each right now, so they're worth 160k. The account dropping them is on the high scores with classic Zulrah bot stats and 700 Zulrah kill count. And the guy who tipped me off is there as well, and shows me how many teleports he has collected in what he says was the last 5 to 10 minutes. 140 teleports worth about 2.8 mil. So if this continued for an hour, the bot would drop 15 to 20 mil worth of these teleports. The one question I had was, if this bot is drop trading tellies to other bots or muling off in super small amounts by drop trading stuff, where are the other accounts that should be picking it up? In the tip-off, the guy did say he saw bots coming in earlier periodically that were also slow to pick up the teleports, but I never saw any. The whole thing seems pretty strange though, like not much is being muled each time, just 6 to 8 Zulrah teleports. Like wouldn't the bots have enough GP usually to at least buy 1 or 2 teleports, which would restart the cycle if they just then sold the loot from the kill? It doesn't really make any sense to me, but let me know if anyone else has any ideas. In the next couple minutes, I collected 39 teleports for 800k, but then the account moved 1 tile east and didn't drop any more teleports. Eventually, it logged out. I did give the guy who tipped me off all the teleports I collected along with 5 mil, because it was really nice of him to tip me off given he had just found a really easy moneymaker. Here's a pretty strange tip I got. Someone claims they're making hundreds of mils from broken trade scam bots, but it might not be what they think. I have lots of footage of them profiting from multiple accounts, so let's break it down. This account approaches our protagonist who's recording, and presumably was wielding a twisted bow a few seconds before. The account flashes 1.8 billion GP in a trade, declines the trade, and says, T-bow. They trade again, he puts the T-bow in the trade with the 1.8 bill, accepts the first trade screen, and the second of course, because T-bows are worth less than 1.8 bill, but the scammer declines. Then the scammer just trades him 2 mil for free, and then says something kind of weird like, maybe I can't wear it. This happens dozens of times, and our protagonist rakes in 1 to 2 mil every minute or so for just showing their T-bow. Of course, the other player is trying to psychologically train this person to put the T-bow up and accept trades, leading to eventually making a mistake. The scammer also wants him to show the Tumikin's shadow, which is 1.4 bill. And in this trade, the scammer puts in a shadow as well as 10 mil cash, and then actually accepts the trade, giving our protagonist 10 mil. He told me he got up to 30 mil in these types of trades for both the shadow and the twisted bow. However, check out this screenshot. Of course it's too good to be true. There's always a catch. Sometimes the twisted bow is swapped out for a twisted cane with almost inhuman reaction time. But don't worry, our protagonist wasn't tricked. So there's a few things to note here. First, he made over 200 mil in just a couple hours and then got bored and left. Must be pretty rich, right? Second, I reported the accounts doing this to the anti-cheating team, and they said these accounts are in fact not bots, just very crafty players. And the third thing to note is, don't do this, don't try to do this. There's a reason these scammers are willing to give so much GP away, and it's because by the time they've given away 200 mil, the scam has usually worked. And who cares about getting 200 mil when you just traded over a 1.4 billion GP item? Eventually, you'll get tricked. Just because it worked for this guy doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Be careful, and my advice is to never ever engage in these activities. That's all from me. If you liked the video, leave a like and hit that subscribe button. We're only 1,000 subscribers away from 350,000 subscribers. See you guys soon.